Hey everyone, welcome back to another segment at the Vacuum Cleaner Exchange. I'm Paul Lawrence alongside Bruce Dunning, and recently we got the chance to visit the Simplicity factory. And as you may have noticed, we're standing with the Simplicity vacuum here, an 8-pound vacuum, and we were just talking about how they have so many different checks and balances at that factory. It's amazing how well they check every product to make sure it's going out to the customer how it should.
Yeah, it was very interesting as far as how they make sure that there's no mistakes on the assembly line, because each person is responsible for their own work, but then there are other workers that also check to make sure that the work that was done before they get their hands on it was done correctly. What's really nice or neat here is this little label right here. Doesn't mean much to a lot of people, but to some people it's still important. Manufactured in the United States.
Yeah.
And the factory's in St. James, Missouri, which is just straight down 44.
Yeah, so not only the United States, but very close by to us, within an hour and a half of us in St. James, Missouri.
Yeah, it was a good time. We had about a dozen people that went on the trip with us, and we learned a lot.
Yeah, and Jim, I guess the plant manager there, was nice enough to give us a great tour, and we put a mic on him, and he kind of talked to the camera and was able to show us, some of those checks and balances they have in place to make sure they have a great product every time.
Yeah, we had him mic'd up.
The original way we did it with a person standing shoulder to shoulder, if you look down the line at any point in time, you'd see half the people waiting for something to do, and the other half people working away trying to catch up. Here, there's less pressure, but there's more knowledge that's needed. So, what we found is that our productivity went up 35%. Our errors went down, our first pass yield is 99.9%. So our error ratio dropped to almost nil because you're not under the pressure. If you know you made a mistake, you can fix it right there. You got all the tools that you need. And so we identify it and correct it. Second thing I want to point out about our operational method sheets, you see the very first station there. The second thing you're going to see is at the next station they have to verify what was done before they start on the next operation. So it says, okay, you should have the motor wires in here, you should have the motor in, and you should have these clips on the back. You check that before you start putting on the motor cover, putting in the seals, doing the crimping, and putting in the filters. So it's a second set of eyes. The other thing we use, and you'll see, real simple, popsicle stick. That's how you verify. You don't touch it with your finger because you can be talking about how lousy the rams were Sunday and feel it, but you can't see that the screw didn't go all the way down and that the tool clip's loose. If you use a popsicle stick, you have to look at it to see that the parts are in the right spot and that they were installed correctly. Another thing about all of our products, they are 100% functionality tested. We're going to test them for vibration, for sealed suction. We're going to do a high potentiometer test to make sure that there's no shorts in it. We're going to pump 1,500 volts through these things so that if there's a bad connection, we're going to force a dead short. And then we do another cosmetic check before it gets packed to make sure that when you pull it out of the box, it's going to work like you have just demoed, and it's going to look like a Mercedes on the showroom floor. What Don is doing is we inspect 3% of everything that we build. We call it a dock audit. Don will go out here and pull it off the skid. He's inspecting the packaging to make sure the tape's down the center so when you pick it up, one flap doesn't pop open. He's checking the UPC codes to make sure that the print was right. He checks everything about how we box the thing. Then he disassembles the entire vacuum to make sure everything was put together properly. And then he reassembles it, records what he finds on these log sheets. And if he does find something, usually it's a training issue. We put somebody in a station they haven't been in a while, and so they will go out, he'll show them what we did wrong. Then the team, depending on the error, has to unpack so many vacuums to make sure that that was just an isolated incident or that person wasn't doing it routinely. Okay? With the double checks out there, we should never have that. So what they do is they will unpack 15 vacuums and make sure and check every one to make sure it was done properly.
And
maybe
then they're
something
going in specifically to look for that.
to look for that thing. Right. If they find another one, they have to keep unpacking 15 vacuums until they find 15 that have not had that error. And then we feel like we have quarantined them and caught them all.